come in. You know, I don't know how I should have borne these last few weeks without you. Nor I without you. I've had a letter from my stewards concerning the affairs of our estates. I have to go back to Moscow to sort things out. Where will you stay? It seems the house wasn't badly damaged. Can still be occupied. I shall stay there. The point is, I think you should come with me. I've spoken to your mother and father. We talked of it last night. They both agree it would be good for you. I'd rather stay here. But you need advice from doctors. And besides, it's depressing for you here, staying in the place where he died. Dearest, life must go on. We both loved him, but what can you do? I don't want to do anything. I just want to be left alone. Do you think he would have wanted that? I can't stop thinking about him, Maria. I remember just before you came in how he said to me once, it would be awful to bind oneself forever to an invalid. It would be a continual torture. And I told him it won't go on like this. You'll get well. I said it without thinking. I said it only meaning that it would be awful for him. But he meant that it would be awful for me. It must have seemed as if I were agreeing with him. As if I couldn't bear the thought of having to live with an invalid. Dearest, he knew you didn't mean that. No, he didn't. How could he? How could he know that even if he had to go on dying before my eyes, I'd have been happy compared with what I am now? And now it's too late. You'll never know what I really meant. He does know. He knows it now, even if he didn't know it then. Of that I'm sure. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Don't you think it makes things worse staying here? Come back to Moscow with me. The city is being rebuilt, and people say it's beginning to return to normal. No. I'll stay here. But you go. There are things for you to do. I shan't leave for a day or so. You may change your mind.
quickly, your mama. There's been a letter. Petya. No, you're lying. Go away.
Mama,
Mama, leave me alone. It's not
Mama,
true.
please, Mama.
Mama. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Mama.
No, you're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying.
Mama.
Leave me. No. Oh, God.
No, Mama.
Natasha, tell me it's not true.
Excuse me, sir. You've no right in it. Master! Oh, please, Peter God, we thought you were dead. Oh, thank heavens, thank heaven.
Hiya, Gerasim.
I'm well, Master.
Good.
Well.
Good.
But we never thought we'd see you again.
No.
Someone said they saw you being taken out to be shot. Oh, heavens, the things that have happened.
Cousin? Is it really you?
Yes, it's me.
But where have you been? We all heard that
Well,
you...
I was taken prisoner by the French, forced to leave with them, and then we were rescued by partisans near Smolensk.
The war has been over nearly a month.
Yes, well, I fell ill immediately afterwards.
Master, let me get you some food.
No, thank you, Gerasim. Not now, later, then. Please.
Oh, praise be to God. Oh, thank you.
Well, when did you arrive from Petersburg?
2 weeks ago, I thought since we hadn't heard from you, I ought to return to Moscow to see what damage there was.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, there seems to be very little done to this house.
Oh, not to this one, only at the back, but to the house in the suburbs and the villa. Tell me, you have just arrived this minute?
Yes, yes.
You have had no news of anything?
No. What in particular?
Of Helene?
Oh, yes, I received a letter from her before I left Moscow. She wants a divorce, but, why, is there something else?
Oh, cousin, dear cousin. Helene died in Petersburg a month ago.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what was it?
Angina.
Huh?
They say.
You know something else?
Oh, it's gossip only, and I wouldn't want to upset you.
Oh, well, then perhaps you shouldn't tell me.
No. Except, I wouldn't want you to hear it from anyone else.
Well, what is it that everyone else is saying?
They're saying... Oh, of course, I don't believe it. A certain drug was prescribed to produce a certain effect. But she became alarmed that it wasn't working and took too much of it.
I see. And the effect she was trying to produce was...
No, don't say it, Count. We must believe the best despite what others say.
Yes.
I believe it was angina.
Well, whatever it was, I'm very sorry to hear it. Oh, by the way, I want to thank you for returning to attend to things. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's nothing. You seem different.
How?
I don't know. More approachable.
Oh.
You know, you have lost 2 million rubles by the burning of Moscow.
Oh, is that all?
Isn't it enough?
Yes, I suppose it is.
Of course, you don't need the house in the suburbs or the villa, so you don't have to rebuild.
No. But you know, as I was walking through the streets of the city just now, I heard the sound of carpenters hammering away. It was a sound that pleased me. Yes, I think we shall rebuild.
Now, I'm not going to let you gentlemen stand here and talk politics all evening. I insist that you tell me all that is happening in Petersburg just now.
Excuse us.
Yes, Count. Yes? Have you met General Gerontier?
No. Well, he's a French general who was taken prisoner at Smolensk, and he's here this evening. Look, do come and meet him. He's a very interesting man.
Yes, sir.
And Anna Scherer, now does she still hold her soirees?
Once a month. I do my best to avoid them. When my duties don't call me out into society, I prefer to stay at home.
Oh, what a loss that must be, my dear.
Perhaps. I get so tired of people seeking me out for favors. Because I'm close to His Majesty, I think I can work miracles.
You remind me of a favor you once did for me.
Oh, I didn't mean to. That was a long time ago.
And what do you think of my Boris now?
Oh, he's done well.
Well, I've you to thank for it.
Not at all. You're lucky he's such a credit to you.
Oh, my dear Prince, you've had your troubles more than most.
A son and a daughter. Both gone.
And Anatole just coming into his own. Oh, one could see it, my dear. And let us not forget, he died for his country. Great heavens, look who's here. It's Besuch.
Pierre.
But when did you arrive?
This morning.
How wonderful. But I saw you at Borodino. I thought you'd been killed there. But absolutely wonderful. Yes, Prince, look who's here. It's Count Pierre.
Is it really?
Yes, it's me.
How are you? How are you?
You heard about Helene.
Yes, I'm sorry, it's a tragedy.
I know you won't, but we won't talk about that. And Anatole.
Yes, I heard he died very bravely.
My dear
Princess.
Count, we had quite given you up. Boris was so sure you had fallen at Borodino.
Yes, well, so were many, Mother, but I could never find your name on the lists. Understandably.
Will you be coming to Petersburg?
In a few days, yes. Yes.
Come and see me.
Yes, of course.
Tell me all your news. How you're managing the estates. You remember how hard I had to work to stop you squandering your money, eh? But I didn't mind. You were like a son to me.
I'll come and see you, I promise.
Oh, I won't forget, I can see. Like a son. My dear, I must go.
A chance, yes.
I feel rather tired.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, what happened to you after Borodino?
Well, I returned to Moscow. I stayed here during the occupation. I was taken prisoner by the French, forced to go with them, and we were rescued by partisans at Smolensk.
It's Smolensk. As simple as that.
Yes.
What an extraordinary chap you are.
And have you seen anyone since your return?
Friends? No, I haven't.
Do you know that Princess Maria is in Moscow?
No, at the old house.
Yes, in Vozvichenko Street. We haven't seen her, of course. She's still in mourning.
Well, I'll go and see her.
We heard you were in Moscow. We were so glad to hear you were safe. It was the one piece of good news we'd had for a long time.
Yes, well, I didn't know myself until yesterday that you were here.
We returned about a week ago.
Well, what you've been through. Imagine I knew nothing about him. But Andrei, I thought he died at Borodino. I didn't realize that the Rostovs found him either.
Don't you recognize her?
No, it can't be.
How lovely to see you.
But I never dreamed that you'd be... I thought you were...
She came back with me. I wanted her to. The Count and Countess will be here in a few days.
How are they?
Well, the Countess is in a dreadful state, of course.
Oh, yes, of course. Petya. You know, it happened the day we were rescued. He was with the partisans.
You saw him.
Only after it happened. Well, what can I say? Why should he, so full of life, why should he die like that?
Because God wills it.
Why? Why should he will such a thing?
Natasha, how can you ask that?
Well, I do. Why?
Well, who knows? I only know that such losses would be impossible to bear if we didn't believe it. Look how wonderful it is that three of us are together again after all that has happened.
Why don't we sit down? There must be so much to talk about.
Yes. Well, tell me. Can you bear to talk about him, about Andrei? Or would it distress you too much?
You have a right to know all there is to know. You were his friend. He spoke of you many times before he died.
Yes. Yes, we were very close. We talked endlessly. And we often helped each other, I think. You know, I was with him just before the battle began.
What did you talk about?
Well, he was in a strange mood, very tense because of what was about to happen, and he certainly wasn't pleased to see me there.
Oh, no, that couldn't be.
No, he was right. He was right, of course, because I should never have gone there anyway. It was no place for me, for a civilian. And he was a dedicated man, and everything he did absorbed him totally. And so he would prefer to be with the men of his regiment at the time than he would with me.
What did he say to you?
Well, he tried to make me welcome, but I could see that his mind was on other things. He felt keenly the loss of his home and his father, and he hated the French for being the cause of it. He talked a great deal about the hypocrisy of war. And much of what he said I felt was true.
Did you part good friends?
No, there was a distance between us. I can't disguise that. I felt no less for him because of it. In fact, I understood it completely. As I said, as the time approached, he wished only to be with the men of his regiment who were going to share the danger with him and not me.
Yes. That's how he would be. That's how he often appeared, cold to some.
As I left him, only one thing worried me, and that was the state of his mind, which was bitter and resentful. And I couldn't bear to think of him dying like that.
He didn't. Not at all.
No, I'm glad. I'm so glad. What a happy thought that he saw you again, though.
Yes, that was a great happiness. For me, at any rate.
For him, too.
Yes, I think so. He said he was wishing for that very thing when I entered the room.
Well, that's extraordinary. That must be God's word. Who else could it be? How did it come about?
He came in with the wounded, and we took him with us out of Moscow. I didn't know he was with us until Sonia told me. I had no idea what state he was in. I only knew I wanted to see him.
And then?
I didn't know if I should go in. I didn't know if he'd want to see me after all that I'd done. Well, it's true. I was afraid he would hate me or despise me.
No, I'm sure he didn't feel that.
Well, in the end, the thought of not seeing him became so unbearable, I just got up one night and went into him. And from then on, I just stayed with him. Every hour of the day. On the journey and at Yaroslavl, where he died. The wonderful thing was, he had never ceased loving me as I had never ceased loving him.
Oh, what fools we all are. We do things we don't intend, we say things that we don't mean, and we don't say things that we should say. But it was wonderful that you were both given the chance to come together again, wasn't it?
Yes, I shall always be grateful for that. I was so sure he was going to get well. We talked so much about all the things we were going to do together. And then, I don't know, something went out of him. One day he said to me, "I love you too much." And I knew he'd said it because he'd had a presentiment of death. I tried to tell him he'd get well, but though it seemed to satisfy him, I knew in his heart he didn't believe it.
Dearest. She hasn't spoken like that about him since he died. It's good to talk. Stay and have some supper.
Yes. Yes. It was madness, but yes.
I thought you might have done. When I saw you in the street, just before we left. I remember that conversation we had about your path crossing.
Must you have thought of me?
I thought you were very brave.
Really? I was insane. I was mad.
But did you ever meet him?
Well, in Poland, no, of course not. Though many people are convinced that I did, but I never even saw him. I was arrested on the street in an area that was on fire, Nikolsky Street. Tried as an incendiary and sentenced to be shot.
No.
Oh, yes. Yes, I was taken out with the others. They executed 6 and then stopped at me.
Did you think they were going to shoot you?
Oh, yes.
It must have been awful.
Well, it was certainly no entertainment. The worst thing was the lad. He was a boy. They shot just before they came to me. Couldn't have been more than 15.
Such savagery. What you've been through.
Well, it's curious. You know. It sounds awful, and in its way it was awful, but in another way I wouldn't have missed it for the world. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Anyway, it's all over now.
I would like to hear. I'd like to hear how you felt and what it did to you.
Oh, well. Well, you know, for a long time I've been searching for a way to live, for a philosophy that would make some sense of my life. And so I stumbled this way and that way, looking for this or that secret of life. Little did I know that I'd find it through suffering.
Christ showed us that way, and we've never understood it.
It's true. We cling for dear life to the comforts that we know. And once we are moved out of our customary ruts, we think that all is over for us. But
Yes, I know what you mean. It's only then that the good and the new can begin again, isn't it?
yes. So, I tried so many things. Freemasonry, philanthropy, dissipation. I talked to so many people who seemed to know the answers, and none of it proved lasting. And you know from whom I finally learned the answer?
No.
He was a peasant. He was a man so close to nature that he was part of it. And his name was Platon Karatayev. And I shall remember him for the rest of my life.
Where is he now?
Oh, they killed him. Because he felt sick and couldn't keep up with the rest of us, so they shot him. As they shot everyone who fell behind.
Oh, Pierre.
Ah, but you'll never understand what I learned from that simple, illiterate man. He knew that life is the day-to-day living of it. That we are part of life itself. And that once we begin to think about it too much, or begin to tamper with it, we create for ourselves unhappiness.
While there's life, there's happiness.
Yes. We have so much before us. And I say that to you.
Yes, you're right. I know now that I would ask for nothing better than to go through it all again. Even knowing I would lose him.
Because we are not to blame, you and I, or Maria, for wanting to live, because that is life. the living of it. And once we forget that, we extinguish some small part of it. And that is a mortal sin.
Natasha, what is it?
It's nothing. It's bedtime. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm sorry I've kept you so late.
No, it's
May I
been
come
wonderful.
again?
Yes.
Tomorrow?
Please.
I can't tell you what it's done for me. Just to see you both. Good night. Good night.
Do you know, Maria, I'm often afraid that by not speaking of Andre, we may forget him.
Is it possible to forget?
Well, it did me so much good to talk about it today. It was hard and painful. Yet I was glad. And I'm sure Andre loved him. That's why I could tell him. It didn't matter, did it?
Telling Pierre? No. What a fine man he is.
Yes, he is, isn't he? Oh, he has changed. He was always warm and lovable, but now he's so serene.
Yes. Yes, I can understand why Andre cared for him more than anyone.
Yet they're quite different.
Yes. That's why, perhaps.
But do you think it wise
Wise?
to spend so much time there? You've been every night for a week.
Yes, I suppose I have.
Won't people talk?
Talk?
Yes, talk. Why do you keep repeating everything I say?
Right now, do I? Yes, I suppose I do.
People will talk. I know there's nothing in it.
Nothing in it?
You're doing it again. Are you going to Petersburg?
Petersburg?
Yes, Petersburg. What on earth is the matter with you?
I don't know if I'm going to Petersburg. I thought I might go to Petersburg, but I don't care about Petersburg.
Well, there are things you have to do there.
Yes, I suppose there are.
Well, you know there are. You're behaving very strangely.
Strangely?
I must insist that you stop repeating everything. Are you making fun of me?
No, certainly not. You know, you look very pretty this morning.
I don't know what's happening to you. Perhaps it's delayed shock. But you ought to know you've been behaving very strangely all week.
Strangely?
Perhaps you should see a doctor.
No, I feel wonderful.
Very well. You must do as you wish. Will you be in to dinner this evening?
No, I'm going out.
To Princess Maria's again.
Yes, again.
It will be every night this week.
Yes, isn't it wonderful?
It seems very strange to me. Friendship is one thing, but... However...
Come in!
I've ordered the coach for 7 o'clock, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Don't go. I want a word with you.
Well, I shall see you in the morning.
Yes, not before. My word, you do look so pretty today. Well, Gerasim. Do you still not want your freedom?
What good would freedom be to me, Your Excellency? I'm very happy with you.
All right, what about your children?
They're happy with you too, Your Excellency.
What about my heirs? Supposing I get married?
It would be a very good thing, Your Excellency. Will you be going to Petersburg tomorrow?
Petersburg? I don't know. Don't even care. And the tricks that dog could play.
What happened to him?
Oh, we lost him when the French moved us out of Moscow. He became very attached to Platon Karataev. Kept us amused for hours.
You must excuse me. I have a headache. I think I should go to bed.
Oh, I'm sorry I've kept you so late again.
No, don't be sorry. It's been lovely.
So you're going to Petersburg tomorrow?
Yes, I thought I might. I may. Yes, I probably shall. Should I?
Good night.
Should I?
I don't know. But if you do, I shall look forward very much to your return.
Good night.
Good night.
Well,
No, please let me speak to you just for a moment, please. Just for a moment. Help me. What am I to do? Have I a right to hope, Maria, my dear friend? I know. I know I'm not worthy of her, and I know that this isn't the time to speak right now, but... I don't know when I first began to love her. It seems that I've always loved her. All my life. And I love her now so that I cannot imagine life without her. And I can't tell her. It's impossible, I know. But the thought that you might be mine and that the opportunity may slip by is awful. Please help me. Tell me, have I a right to hope? Am I mad even to think about it?
you're right. To speak of love at this time, it wouldn't be right.
Well, what am I to do?
Leave it to me. I know...
What do you know? What do you know?
I know she loves you. Will love you.
Really? You think so?
Yes, I do. I've seen it. Go to Petersburg. That will be best, and I'll write to you.
Yes, I'll go to Petersburg. Oh, how happy I am, I can't tell you. You think... No, don't say any more, just in case you start to qualify. Listen. I'll go to Petersburg tomorrow, you're right. It's the best. I'll come and say goodbye tomorrow. Oh, good night, my dear friend. If only you knew.
Is there something wrong?
No. I was talking to Pierre.
Did he say anything? Yes, he did, didn't he? I knew he would. I wanted to listen at the door, but I knew you would tell me. Oh, Maria, forgive me. I'm so afraid of behaving badly. Oh, please tell me what to do.
Do you love him?
Yes. Is that wrong?
No. How could it be wrong? Why should it be?
Oh, it won't be for a while. But one day I'll know when it's right.
Majesty is arriving, Your Excellency.
Your Majesty, these are standards captured from the enemy. The French Grand Army has ceased to exist. The last French unit has been driven from the holy soil of Russia. Not an enemy soldier remains under arms.
We, the Emperor and people of Russia, thank you, Mikhail Illarionovich, for your devotions and your accomplishments. You have not only saved Russia, you have saved Europe. We have the greatest pleasure in bestowing on you the Order of St. George. You know, Mikhail Illarionovich, we must make known to you a certain displeasure we feel at the conduct of the campaign.
If it please your Majesty.
Mistakes were made which seem to us to have been avoidable.
I should be surprised, your Majesty, had there been none in so difficult a campaign.
The pursuit of the French was unnaturally slow, considering that our great Russian army was chafing at the leash and panting to throw themselves upon the enemy.
We were seldom in a condition to do that, sire.
Ah, there is some disagreement there. Plans were sent to you at Krasno and the Berezina for the complete encirclement and destruction of the French army. They were not acted on.
By the time they arrived from Petersburg, sire, the situation had changed.
It seems to us the French could have been destroyed several times after leaving Moscow.
The destruction of the French was inevitable without any aid from me or my soldiers. I saw no reason to waste lives in bringing about a result that was arriving of its own accord.
Why did you not pursue the French across the frontier?
My instructions were to expel the invader from our soil.
Can you really be said to have accomplished your objectives by halting arbitrarily at the frontiers of our country?
Your Majesty, I judged our people have suffered such hardships. They are not ready for such a campaign. Fresh troops could not be levied. Neither could such an adventure improve the position or add to the glory of our country. That is why I have kept the army here at Vilna.
Mikhail Illarionovich, you look tired.
If it please your Majesty.
Why should it please us that our most illustrious son has worn himself out in the service of his country and is in need of a rest? And yet that time must come for all of us, no matter how exalted our position. You have expelled the enemy from Russia. Now it is for us to take over and continue your great work. From now on, I shall assume command of the army myself.
You are right, Your Majesty. I am tired. With your permission.
Of course.